Hey, what's up guys? Austin back again with another long play video. I know I've been doing a lot of these long play videos lately, but yeah. I was kind of bored today, figured I would try to do another one. And that is Mega Man 4, which you're watching right here. Now, I've already done a long play on Mega Man 2 and on Mega Man 3. And like I've said before in the past, I hope to do a long play on every single Mega Man game on the NES. So, as of now, I've got 3 of the 6 done. I think I actually have Mega Man 5 up on the shelf, and I think I also have Part 6. And this one right here, unfortunately, I do not have a cartridge for, not yet anyways. I will have it in the future, so I'm doing this through the Wii's Virtual Console. And I believe I also had the first Mega Man on the Virtual Console as well, so if you guys would like to see that, I can do that through the Wii. I do not have a cartridge of the first Mega Man either, but with that, this is Mega Man 4, guys. This is a pretty decent run. Not my best. To be honest with you, most of this long play was me just trying to remember how to play the game and warming back up to it. And just kind of experimenting here and there. I think I die once throughout this whole playthrough. Now, I get close to dying quite a few times, naturally, and because this run was so generous with energy tanks, which refills my life, I was able to pretty much save myself quite a few times. And so not the best run. I mean, I'm not a pro at these games. I mean, I played this game a lot when I was a kid, but like I said, a lot of this video was me just kind of warming up to the game again and trying to remember how to play it well. I used to be able to blaze through this game without a problem. I would never use any secondary weapons in this game. I would use secondary weapons in some of the other Mega Man games, but Mega Man 4, like Mega Man 3, was one of those Mega Mans that I got as a kid. It was one of the 2 Mega Mans I actually got from my parents as a gift from like Christmas or my birthday or something. So naturally I put a lot of time into Mega Man 4 when I was younger, but I haven't played it much recently. I think the last time I really played through this game was when it was available on the Xbox Mega Man Anniversary Collection, and that was back in like 2004 or 2005 or something like that. And that was a compilation of all the NES Mega Mans plus Mega Man 7 on Super Nintendo as well as Mega Man 8 on PlayStation. And it also had the unlockable Mega Man, not Power Battles, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was the Mega Man one-on-one sort of fighting game where Boss Rush arcade game. There was 2 of them, and both those were on that compilation too. Very cool games. If you haven't tried this out, definitely check them out. But anyways, yeah, I'm kind of going off on a tangent a little bit, but yeah, Mega Man 4 was one of those games I played a lot as a kid, but needless to say, it's probably been like 7 years since I've really gone through this game. Whereas other Mega Man games like Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, I might go through again on a more frequent basis, maybe once a year or once every other year or something like that. Mega Man 4, I haven't, I just kind of forgot about, even though I played it a lot as a kid. So, but like I was saying, this long play is, it's not the best, but for you guys out there that care about that sort of thing, I only die once. It was a really, really stupid death. So, with all that said, guys, this is Dive Man, and I pick his level first because he actually has a secondary item you can get here. Mega Man 4 was the first game of the NES Mega Mans where you could find, I guess, kind of hidden items that would help you through the rest of the game. And one of those is this, it's the hook. I think it's the hook or something like that. We'll find out when I get it. Even the names kind of slip my mind right now. But the hook will let you pretty much latch onto any ceiling that's above you, which is pretty useful. So instead of using your rush coil and using your power using your power that powers that, you can use the wire or the hook instead. Actually, now that I think about it, it's called the wire. And to get that, you just fall down this hole right here and just avoid the spikes, and at the very bottom is the power-up. Now this little section right here is very reminiscent of towards the end of Mega Man 2 where there's spikes on walls, and I think there's a part like this in Mega Man 3 as well. So Mega Man 4, like all the Mega Man games after the earlier ones, it regurgitates a lot of tricks and traps from the earlier Mega Man games. For instance, the disappearing blocks make their obligatory return later on in the game, and the spiked walls and so forth. And towards the end of the game, you revisit water, kind of like this, but a stage that's sort of set up kind of like Bubble Man stage from Mega Man 2, as well as I think a last area from Wily's castle. Mega Man 3 was also set up in a similar way, so you'll see a lot of familiar tricks here. Now, there's a bunch of new ones also added just for Mega Man 4. For instance, once we get to Bright Man stage, I think it's Bright Man, the lights can go out on his stage if you shoot the wrong enemy and so forth, and you have to shoot a different enemy to light them back up. So there's some cool stuff in this game. I kind of want to talk about just Mega Man 4 in general for a little bit, actually. It's not a very difficult game, actually, because I was expecting to die a lot, and I was expecting to get kind of frustrated and then give up on doing the long play, but I was actually able to do this on my second try. My first try, I really had to warm up. I played like Ringman's level first, and I got to him, and I got my ass handed to me, but then it started coming back to me, because it's been so long since I played this game, so some of the patterns and so forth are just, they weren't really with me right now, and so they were kind of coming back. I was just trying to remember how I played the game when I was younger, because I had it down to a science when I was a kid. And for instance, Dive Man here, he pretty much shoots a couple homing missiles at you. You can just plow through them with your charge cannon, and then he'll dive at you 3 times, and he'll stop. If you jump over him, he'll stop right where you are on the screen, so you can pretty much control where he goes. And that's what a lot of the battles are like in this version of Mega Man, much more so than I think any of the other Mega Mans on the system. The bosses are very controllable in this game, and for instance, Ringman, I'll show you him obviously when I get to him. But anyways, back on with just talking about Mega Man 4. Mega Man 4 was you know, it regurgitated a lot of the stuff from old games, but it also brought in the charge cannon, which I was just talking about, which lets you charge up your beam. Now, I'm not sure how many people actually liked that change, but I thought as a kid, I got this game when I was in I must have been in 4th grade or 5th grade or something like that. I think it was like 4th grade, and I was really young, needless to say, and I thought it was cool. I liked it, and with how the bosses were clearly designed for you to take advantage of that. They're designed actually for you to either take advantage of your charge cannon or the boss's sub-weapons, like in any other Mega Man game prior. But I would always just use the charge cannon. I never even bothered using the secondary items. I mean, I messed around with it as a kid, and back then I had a general idea of what sub-weapons hurt different bosses, but I would still just play with my my plasma cannon and my charge cannon, and I thought it was fun playing it like that. And you'll see what I mean later on as you see me fighting other bosses. The bosses are really set up to be fought with the charge cannon. Yeah, that was I thought that was a cool change. I don't know how many other people liked it, because recently actually, and this is one thing I wanted to talk about, is people don't really, this game hasn't gotten a very good reputation lately for some reason. Maybe I've just never understood how much people didn't like this game, but because I was a kid and I really enjoyed it, it was one of my favorite games at the time, and a bunch of my friends also liked it, and they got it on their own as well, and so it was like everybody I knew liked Mega Man 4, but as, you know, 20 years down the road or something like that, it just seems like people don't enjoy it nearly as much. If you go on message boards and people talk about their favorite Mega Man games or their least favorite, it seems like Mega Man 4 is just kind of lumped up there with Mega Man 5 and 6 with least favorite, their least favorite Mega Mans. And as a kid, I definitely wouldn't have understood that, because I loved this game as a kid, but going through it again on this game, I think I can see where some people are coming from with that, because it's definitely, I don't know how to say this, but it definitely doesn't have that punch that Mega Man 2 or 3 had, or even Mega Man 1. Mega Man 1 is just kind of, it's in its own league, in my opinion. It's just so different from the rest of them. But Mega Man 4, like, the best I can put it is it just lacks the punch that the other Mega Man games do. The soundtrack isn't quite as memorable. It does have some memorable tracks, don't get me wrong. I really like a couple of the tunes in this game, but a lot of the tracks aren't memorable. Like the boss theme, it sounds kind of goofy. It's like it's like Mega Man 2. Or Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 actually had that really driving boss music. It was kind of creepy, but it was driving, and they don't have that in this. It's just kind of weird music, you know. And that's how a lot of the music is in this game. I mean, it's not. I'm not gonna say the whole soundtrack is goofy, but it's not. But it doesn't have that driving factor that a lot of the music, say, in the other Mega Man games prior did. Even I think some of like Mega Man 6's music was better than a lot of the music in this game. So, so I can see where people are coming from in terms of not liking this as much. And I just mainly commented on the music. I mean, the game is the graphics look good in my opinion. You know, it gets the job done there, and it introduces some new enemies which are pretty kind of cool, I guess. For instance, the floating shield-looking enemies where you can only hurt them from one side. So, now this is Ring Man. Actually, before I go too far off, this is an example of being able to control the boss fight. If you hold the charge cannon, if you hold the charge cannon, he won't throw a ring at you, or he'll throw one. You can jump it, and it'll go back, and you'll. But if you try to shoot again, like if you try to pummel him with your shot, he'll actually throw another ring and he'll hit you. Which is actually what happened just at the beginning of the fight. So, Ring Man is an example of just being able to control him through the charge cannon. And it does a lot of damage. It takes like 3, 4, 5 pellets off their life bar. But like I said, if you try to pummel him with shots, he's going to keep tossing rings at you, and you're basically going to get killed. So, a lot of bosses are like that. For instance, Dustman, once we get to him, I'm not sure when I play him, he shoots these dust pellets out. However, all you have to do is just stand in place and jump when they get to you, and they'll explode. And they'll explode in different directions to where they won't hit you. And again, you just pretty much charge up your shot, shoot him. When he shoots a dust pellet out, you jump you avoid it, and at the same time you're charging your charge cannon. And then you can hit him again when you land, and it's just rinse and repeat. And that's what a lot of the bosses are like in this game. Now this is Bright Man's stage. This is where I was talking about how you can shoot the lights out, and you have to shoot the little green guys there to bring the lights back on. I was trying to play relatively safe here because I didn't want to die. I hate doing long plays where I die a lot. And if I die early on in the game, I actually get a little frustrated, and I just stop and I start recording over again from scratch. So what I used to actually be able to do there when I was a kid, though, is just shoot the lights out and just go, because I had the level memorized, and I knew when to jump and when not to jump, and it was cool. That's one of the cool things about this level is, you know, if you get to know it very well, you can just kind of plow right through it without having to play too safe like I was trying to do. Now, I think I also go up in this ladder on the top right, and it's just like a life pellet or something like that. It just fills my life. Normally, when I play Mega Man games by myself, especially when I'm familiar with them, I skip all like the secret stuff because I don't really need it, and it's just, I like to beat these games as quickly as I can. But in this playthrough, I pretty much try to get everything I can just to survive, so I can beat it without continuing. I'll never upload a long play if I have to continue. That's, yeah, well, I don't know, I say that now, but in the future I'll probably be like, man, I'll just keep continuing on one game and just to upload a long play. But, you know, games like this, 8-bit Nintendo games, I have no reason to have to continue. Like, I was able to ace these games in the past, so there's no reason why I can't still do that now. And just with a little practice anyways. I mean, a lot of times I'm rusty, and to kind of continue on that little tangent a little bit, the reason I did this long play wasn't actually to do a Mega Man 4 long play. It was actually because I was trying to do a Ninja Gaiden 3 long play. Due to somewhat popular demand, I guess. You know, about as popular as it can be. Considering my long plays get about 100 views and that's it. I was actually, on my Ninja Gaiden 2 long play, a few people had requested that I do Ninja Gaiden 3, and I don't actually have the cartridge on Nintendo, but I still really wanted to do it because I've already done Ninja Gaidens 1 and 2, and I beat Ninja Gaiden 3 on through the Ninja Gaiden trilogy on Super Nintendo just a couple weeks back. But of course, I want to do the Nintendo version, not the Super Nintendo rehash, which wasn't a very great rehash, but yeah, I'm going to do a video on that in the future, actually. But yeah, the reason I did this Mega Man 4 long play is because I got about 3/4 of the way through Ninja Gaiden 3, and I just kept dying in this one part for just really stupid reasons. And I was just like, so I turned it off, but I was like, you know, because I was doing it through my Wii, because I don't have the cartridge on the 8-bit Nintendo, I decided to go see what other Virtual Console games I have. And I have a lot of Virtual Console games, mind you. Yeah, I have a lot of Virtual Console games. I have the first 4 Mega Mans, I have all 3 Ninja Gaidens, all 3 Castlevanias. Actually, the first 4 Castlevanias. Bunch of RPGs, the Adventure Islands, the Wonder Boys, the Alex Kids, the Sonics for Master System and Game Gear, the Mario Brothers, all that stuff. I've just got a lot of things I could do long plays with, even if I don't have the NES games. So I saw that Mega Man 4 was on there, and I remembered beating Mega Man 3 a few weeks back, doing a long play of that. Actually, I think it was a couple months ago, now that I think about it. But it was sometime this summer I did it, and I figured I'd try to continue on and do Mega Man 4. I didn't recall this game being that difficult after I was familiar with it, and I just figured it might come back to me pretty quickly, and lo and behold, it did. I didn't have too much trouble doing this. I mean, I felt a little uncomfortable doing it because I felt like death was around every corner, because I just wasn't playing as well as I used to as a kid, and I wasn't as familiar with everything. Like I said earlier on, a lot of this video is just me kind of relearning the game as I go, trying to remember things as I go on. But that's how this long play came to be. I was actually doing a Ninja Gaiden 3 long play. I failed miserably. Not quite miserably, but I failed. I wasn't up to my standards of these long plays, so I looked to see what other games I had on the Wii while I still had it hooked up for video recording, and so lo and behold, we got Mega Man 4, my long play right now. So not really sure what else to say at this point. Here we got Toadman. I think I've got a few of the bosses knocked out already. I haven't even been paying all that much attention because I've just been talking and reminiscing a little bit and just talking about this game like I normally do in my long plays. I don't always talk about the game and my tricks entirely. Like I don't tell you why I'm jumping and attacking these penguin guys that are coming on the screen right now, because it's kind of a moot point in some instances. It's like, just shoot straight forward, attack the enemy, and kill them. That's basically how most Mega Man games should be played. Just shoot quickly, don't do anything too stupid. So, but there are a couple little quirks here and there that are good to know if you're new to the game. But right here, not a whole lot. Just charge your charge cannon. Sometimes you can shoot multiple penguins, flying penguins for some odd reason. You can shoot multiple ones in one go, which is what's useful about the charge cannon. Is I'm always charging in this game because it's just powerful. A lot of enemies it'll cut through in one shot. It's not quite as powerful as it is in the other Mega Man games. Either it's not as powerful, or it's I think they might actually just make enemies weaker in the future Mega Man games, like Mega Man 5 and 6. The charge cannon did change a little bit in parts 5 and 6. It's actually thicker or wider than it is long. In this one, it's longer than it is wide, but in the other ones, it's wider than it is long. And it's actually, I think it's actually put to better use in the later Mega Man games. It's easier to hit the enemies with the charge cannon because it's bigger. And I think that either it's more powerful, like I said, or the enemies are weaker, so it seems to cut through a lot more enemies. So, yeah, I always keep it charged, though. It's always a great first shot, like that rat right there. I just pretty much just sliced right through him with one hit. Whereas it would have taken a few different bullets, just regular bullets, so. And this game, like other Mega Man games, has the famous kind of mini-bosses. Just really big enemies on dedicated screens, and now they're a little lackluster in this game. They're not too difficult. It's not like the blue wolves, the metal wolves you have to fight in Mega Man 2 or or anything like that, but you know, they're here, and that's pretty much been a staple of the series ever since Mega Man 2. So, and this game is definitely no exception. Now what I'm doing here is just, I didn't want to die at the boss or have to use another energy tank, so I try to replenish my energy a little bit. It doesn't work too well. I think I get a few pellets up, but they just weren't really dropping a whole lot, so... for you guys that haven't really played too many Mega Man games, just know that you don't have to feel too pressured to keep continuing on in this game. That was always one of the great things about Mega Man, is it wasn't like, say, Ninja Gaiden, where you were timed, or Castlevania where you were timed, or you weren't timed. You could just sit in a level, literally drop your controller, come back to it 5 hours later, so long as you were on a spot where there weren't any respawning enemies, and you'd be good to go. That's how these games were. It was pretty cool. Now, I have the habit of just playing through as quickly as I can, but, so I'm a little out of the habit of just kind of grinding for enemies, but you can grind for enemies. If you're feeling like you might die at the boss, just stick around with an area where enemies respawn. Sometimes enemies will just respawn in a single spot. For instance, later on in the game, there are these rocks that fall out of the ceiling, and they'll just come one after another, after another, after another, and you can just keep destroying them and pick up whatever power-ups they give you. Or, if you destroy an enemy and he's gone off the screen, if you just move back a little bit and then go forward again, the enemy will come back, much like a Ninja Gaiden game. So... the whole respawning issue is not really a problem in terms of difficulty in this game, fortunately. There are a couple points in the game where I destroy an enemy, quickly move back, move forward again, and they're there again, but they're not... the enemies in this game aren't that quick, they aren't that frustrating or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about crazy killer birds coming at you like in Ninja Gaiden. For those that have played Ninja Gaiden, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is Dustman, and I think from here on is where they start really dumping the extra lives on me for some reason. I think I ended up having like 9 or 10 extra lives by the end of the game, and this is where I die. Yeehaw. When I got here, I was just like, ooh, platform, jump over it, and then a dude comes up and hits me, and I had completely forgotten about this, guys, and which is kind of sad because I used to be really disciplined about jumping over platforms like that, and there's another extra life. So, this whole level, you don't want to just jump over platforms, you want to wait until these little guys come up. It's same with the very last level in the game, once you get to the Dr. C's castle. For those that have played other Mega Man games, but maybe not this one, Dr. Cossack, Dr. C, whatever, he's the main bad guy in the beginning. Apparently Wily's controlling him, and you find that out towards the end of the game. You'll find that out if you keep watching the long play, because you'll see it happen. But, yeah, he's the first castle you have to go through. Then, kind of like some other Mega Man games, you have to go to Wily's actual castle afterwards. So, but kind of jumped the gun on that bit, I guess, but it doesn't really matter because you'll see it as long as you keep watching. So these little dudes, they're not, they're more annoying than anything. Their little helicopter things come off their heads, and then they just kind of home in on you. And there, that dude respawned as well. The next tricky part is actually coming up in a little bit, in just a few moments actually. And that was Flip Top, I think. I don't remember his name exactly. I thought it was Flip Top, and he gives you like little power-ups. And for the most part in this game, all the stuff he's given me has been pretty much useless. He's just given me like weapon power-up capsules, which I don't really need. Like I said, I don't really use the secondary weapons that much in this game. Now, if this was like Mega Man 2, I'd really be taking advantage of Metal Man's weapon just because it was so badass. But there's not a whole lot of weapons that really stand out to me in this game. Pharoah Man's is pretty awesome, but you use it really quickly. The cool thing about it is that you can actually charge it up, and well, when you charge it up, it's like a bigger version of what it normally is. And you can aim it in different directions too, which is pretty cool. But most other weapons are just kind of lackluster in this one. Like, Dive Man's weapon is just like a dinky little homing missile. Ringman's weapon is kind of cool. It flings out and comes back, has some cool animation, but it only goes not even halfway across the screen, not even that. It goes maybe like a fifth of the ways across the screen. So, whereas Ringman can actually shoot it, the boss can actually shoot it all the way across the screen for you. Or not for you, but he could shoot it all the way across the screen himself, but not you apparently. So, yeah, a lot of the weapons are just kind of lackluster, but maybe that's another reason why I just play with the my basic weapon. But here's Dustman, and you can just watch the pattern. I just jump. There you go. Hit him. Jump. Hit him. Jump. Hit him. Jump. Hit him. He does a little sort of sucking number right here, and when he's doing this, he kind of pulls you towards him, and you can't hurt him. So, and we got one more hit, and that's basically it. He's just sucking it up, and then boom, he's gone. So very easy, very simple to control him. Now the bosses that aren't as easy to control are Pharoah Man and Drill Man. They're not as easy to control like Pharoah Man because he bounces all over the screen, and it's kind of hard to tell when he's gonna do his secondary where he charges up and shoots at you. And then Drill Man, same way, he goes into the ground, burrows into the ground, then pops back up wherever you are in the screen. Sometimes it's a little difficult to control that because occasionally he'll just run your way and just start shooting drill missiles at you, and it's kind of hard to avoid that. Skullman, on the other hand, which you see right here, is actually pretty simple to control. And I'll explain his pattern once we get to him. But I think most of the rest of the bosses in the game are pretty easy to control, and that even goes for the last bosses. Once I get to Dr. Cossack's stage, even those bosses are pretty simple. They're not very difficult. I think the hardest one is the very last form of Dr. Wily. And much like past Mega Man games, you have to use a very specific weapon, which is Pharoah Man's weapon, and you'll see that once we get there. Now, those skulls that you saw, they throw bones at you. Nothing too special. The only thing is you have to use your charge cannon to kill them, and you have to charge it up all the way, otherwise they just fall to pieces and then they just respawn on the fly. Now, there might be another weapon you can use to kill them, but I haven't really experimented with that, so I just use my charge cannon. It's a one-shot kill. And we got the old bubble bats from Mega Man 2. I think that's what they were called. Again, I'm not too familiar with my Mega Man terminology anymore, but when I was a kid, I knew the names, and I think that's what they were called, bubble bats or something like that. So they make a return in this game as well, and they actually take 2 or 3 shots, whereas in Mega Man 2 on normal mode, they take 1 shot, I think, and if you play difficult, they take multiple shots. But in this game, they take multiple shots by default. And this little area right here is another example of just a completely optional section. You don't have to go over here, but it's got an energy tank, so, you know, it's like, why not? And it can be a little tricky to get back through, but just use your common sense and you should be able to plow through. Now this next part also has an energy tank. I mean, like a lot of other Mega Man games, or Mega Man 3, they dump a lot of energy tanks at you. So whatever parts are difficult in this game is really mitigated by the fact that you get a lot of options to just replenish your health. This jump right there that I just did, that's a little tricky, so you gotta really be perfect with your platforming there. I have missed that in the past, and so just be careful with that. Now, Skullman, what he does is you can just shoot him. When he stops and does his little skull shield, you want to just sit there. Because the second the shield comes off, he runs at you, and that's an opportunity to jump over you. Or to jump over him. I keep getting my words mixed up. So once he removes the shield, I'm going to jump over him, and he's going to stop wherever I am on the screen. So wherever I am above him, he's going to stop, and I'll clear him. So he's another boss where you can just pretty much control him. And again, like I said earlier on, that's how a lot of bosses are in this game. I don't think I talked about Toadman when we got to him, but all he does is just hops around the screen and he tries to shake his ass and cause, I guess, acid rain to come down or something like that. When he does his little shake up though, you can hit him and it'll stop him. And when you get his life about halfway down, that's all he does. He just keeps trying to shake over and over again. It's kind of stupid, but it's another example of where you can just control him. The second he starts shaking up, shoot him. He stops, then he tries to shake again, you shoot him, you just rinse and repeat until he's gone. Now Drill Man, you'll see he can be a little more random, much like Pharoah Man, they can be a little more random, but like I said, most of the other bosses in the game are pretty much controllable. Now Drill Man stage is also where we see some of the other new traits involved. For instance, just kind of the boulders that come out of nowhere on the screen, that just constantly, endlessly come down on the screen. And then you also got these little switches that'll make just areas of the stage appear. So yeah, like I was saying, the wire power-up basically just hooks up to the ceiling, and once you're up there you can tap in a direction and tap the jump button and you'll sort of do a mini little air hop over there. The wire's pretty useful. It's a pretty cool little item. There's a couple parts later on in the game where you can see me put it to use. It's definitely useful. It's nice not having to always use like rush coil like you did in Mega Man 3. And it's nice to be able to mix it up a little bit. And these are the switches I was talking about. Now there's one that's a little tricky. You kind of have to hit it at an angle. And I did die at this part quite a bit actually as a kid. And was it that one? Or was it another one? Well, I was wrong. I thought that I had to hit them at an angle, but apparently you can just hit them straight on. And you'll be okay. This one actually you have to hit first because there's actually a hole beneath you from what I can tell. Yep. So you don't want to just go straight down on that one, otherwise you will die. But the other ones prior to that you can just go straight down and there'll be no problem. So he's gonna dive into the ground, and basically he just comes up wherever you are on the screen. So what I do is I keep dashing, and he'll pretty much be avoidable that way. So I just keep sliding across the screen. I call it dashing for some reason. I use it like a dash, kind of like in Mega Man X. That's more of a dash. Now, if you guys have possibly noticed, well, you will have noticed this in the past if you've watched any of my other long plays, from earlier on especially, but there's a little bit of some blinking action going on where the screen will just blink every 15 to 20 seconds, maybe there's longer intervals between that, but it's an issue with my Wii, apparently. My Wii just doesn't like being recorded, and I have a couple systems like that. Like my old early model Saturn had the same problem, and my Neo Geo CD has the same problem, but other systems don't. Like when I record my FC Twin, my Dreamcast, and my Xbox 360, I don't have that problem. So it's kind of annoying. I try not to record footage through those systems for like reviews and things like that, just because I don't know, it gives the whole video a really unpolished look. But for something like a long play where it's just me talking about the game and just reminiscing about it, it doesn't matter as much to me. I mean, as long as you can see me completing the game, it's not a huge deal. So I apologize for that if it's annoying you, but I'm sure if it's annoyed you to the point of no return, you would have already closed this video already. So if you're watching at this point, I apologize. I apologize. So that jump, actually, I used rush coil to get over there. Now you can actually clear that jump without rush coil, but if you miss it though, you can't go back. And I think you can actually reselect old stages in this one. I think this might have been the first Mega Man where you could do that. I don't remember though. I mean, I didn't have a need to try it, and on this playthrough, but I think you can. If you can't do it by just selecting a different or selecting an old stage again, maybe you have to hold like select or hold another button to do it. I don't remember. But I think you might be able to go back to these levels, because Dive Man and Pharoah Man stage, like I said, they have the extra items that are pretty useful later on in the game. They're not necessary, they're not required in any part of the game as far as I understand, but they are useful. The balloon, or I think it's called the balloon, that's especially useful later on in the game. So. And actually, to be honest with you, I don't think I use it all that often in this game. I think I use it just to get a couple items, and that's it. But if you use it creatively, you can actually use it to your advantage on certain parts of the game. So here we've got Pharoah Man. Like I said, he kind of bounces all over the place, and his charge shot there does quite a bit of damage. The rest of his attacks don't do as much damage, which is fortunate. It really reminds me a little bit of like Quick Man from Mega Man 2, but he's definitely not as tough as Quick Man. Like, actually, the reason I played him last is the whole time I was fearing that he was going to be really difficult, because I remember him being hard, and he wasn't as hard as I remembered him being. Especially when he does that charge, so long as you're at a good portion of the screen. For instance, if he's 2 steps above you instead of just 1, you can jump over it, or you can actually just let it fly over you. If he's on the bottom level and you're on the top stair, you can actually, I think you can just sit there and it'll just go right underneath you. So he's not too bad. Bright Man's weapon actually works on him, and you'll see that. Much like the other Mega Man games, this has, at the end of the game, you have to fight all the bosses over again. And when that happens, actually, in this playthrough, I decided to test out what weapons work best against certain enemies. That way you guys can also see what weapons work well against the bosses without having to look up like a walkthrough or something. So I figure out most of them, and some of them just came back to me because I remembered a couple of them. And one of them was Bright Man on Pharoah Man. And when you use Bright Man, it's kind of like Flash Man's weapon from Mega Man 2, where it stops time and it stops the enemies from moving. And same thing with Bright Man, however, it only lasts a few seconds with Bright Man, which is actually a good thing, because with Flash Man, you used it once and it used it all the way up. You didn't have a choice over how long you could use it for. So, but in this one, you use it, it freezes them, but you can also shoot, whereas with Flash Man, Flash Man's weapon, I don't think you could shoot with it. At least I don't think you could. I don't even remember at this point. So, It's been a while since I did my Mega Man 2 long play video. That was done pretty early on in the year, I think. You know, when I got my capture card about a year ago, it was Christmas. It was the holiday season. I had some gift cards, and so I got the capture card from Best Buy. And one of the first videos I did was the Super Castlevania 4 long play, and then I think the Mega Man 2 long play wasn't too long after that. I did maybe 2 or 3 more long plays, then I hit the Mega Man 2 one pretty early on in 2011. And as I'm recording this now, it's November 1st, actually. It is, you know, we're getting towards the end of the year. You know, to be honest, I'm not even sure how many more long plays I'm going to do this year, but we'll see how I feel. I still want to try to do the Double Dragon long play, and I also definitely want to do the Ninja Gaiden 3 long play, so you can probably expect those by the end of the year, provided I can do them in one go without getting frustrated. Double Dragon I've been having some trouble with, just getting to the last level and dying. It's, you know, probably going to give that one a few weeks before I try to do that again. Ninja Gaiden 3 I might go back to, or I might just wait for a cartridge. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But those are the next 2 long plays I'm most likely to do. I thought about busting out the Genesis and doing some long plays with that, because there are quite a few Genesis games I can beat without continuing. For instance, Strider is one of them. Likewise with Strider, the arcade game, I thought about doing both the arcade game, then the Genesis version in one video, because it takes about 10 minutes to beat that game. So it would be like a 20 to 25 minute long play to begin with. It wouldn't be very long, even with beating both those games. So you could probably expect that one in the future as well. Strider for Genesis, I can beat that. Used to be able to beat that without continuing in the arcade. Likewise with the Genesis, there were a couple times where I beat it without dying, but I don't know if I'll actually be able to do it without dying. We'll see how well practiced I can get. So as you can tell, this boss right here, it's, you know, we're getting towards the end of the game. Like I was saying, these bosses are pretty easy. Just so long as you don't play stupid and just walk down that hole, you should be fine. All you have to really do is, you know, just shoot his little glowing orb in the center of him, and always use your charge shot. You're just gonna waste time if you don't use your charge shot, because much like in Mega Man 3, this game enemies have stun time. So if you just shoot them once with your pellet, they have like a second or two where you can't hit them. So even if you pummel them with your shots, you can't hurt them if you're pummeling them, which is why the charge shot's very useful. Now, regular enemies, you can just pummel them. That's how they work. But it's the bosses, they'll blink for a few seconds, and you can't hit them again after they blink. So it's best to use your charge shot, hit them, and then immediately start charging again. So. And here's, much like Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, you have to use your jet, or in this one, it's Rush Jet. And in Mega Man 3, there's a part just like this. It's really easy in this one. Mega Man 3, there's a section when you go to Needle Man stage for the second time, while you're trying to fight the Mega Man 2 bosses over again. It's really challenging, because if you can do it once, and you'll have just enough power to get through the area, but if you die, chances are you won't have enough power to get through it. Now this is where you can use Balloon. I actually kind of recommend it. It makes it a little bit easier. If you touch those spikes, you die in one hit. So it can be tricky. When I was a kid, I used to do that, just without using any special powers or anything, and it made me feel good because it was kind of challenging. But you could just skip right through it. So there's like no point to even trying to do it, unless you want to just provide yourself a challenge. That's basically it. And again, we got some more traits, much like Mega Man 3 and Mega Man 2. You get the big sort of drill missile kind of weapon that will shoot through barriers. But those little gameplay traits aren't implemented nearly as much or nearly as in much of a tricky manner as the other two Mega Man games. Mega Man 2 especially, there are just some... Yeah, that one boss on Wily stage where you had to use the Crash Man's weapon, or Clash Man's weapon, whatever it was, and it basically operated the same as Drill Man's weapon, where it blew through those walls. But that boss was such a pain, because if you ran out of it, you wouldn't actually be able to beat the boss. A couple of the things of the boss that you had to hit were stuck behind those barriers, so it was tricky. So this boss is a little kind of interesting as well. You know, when I was actually playing this game, I remembered this boss, but for some odd reason, I thought he was in Mega Man 3 and not Mega Man 4. And so when I got to this boss, I was just like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and I saw him just pop out of nowhere. I was like, oh shit, he's in this one, no. He's really not that difficult, I don't even know, so long as you just pay attention. I usually sit in the middle of the screen. Try not to sit on one corner because he'll push you across the screen. Also, I think if he pushes you and you're still stuck under him, sometimes he'll kill you in one hit if you don't slide. Pretty sure he could push you over and you can die. So you definitely don't want to get crushed that way. I'm pretty sure I've gotten crushed like that at least once in my life. So... Now, this next part, I don't kill him on this one go, and I do something really stupid. I just kind of like zone out. I don't know what the hell I do. And so I get locked outside of him. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. Alright, sorry about that, I just kind of took a little break. So, we're still in Dr. Cossack's castle, and this is actually one of my favorite stages from the game. For one, it's got a pretty cool backing tune. I like the music on this stage. And the whole sky theme is neat, and it's one of those scrolling stages, which doesn't happen a whole lot throughout the rest of the game. So it's a nice change of pace. And it's not too difficult either. It's just, I like it. It's a good stage. And the boss is pretty fun to fight as well, and you'll see. It's cool. You'll see. I think there's actually a boss kind of like that in one of the other Mega Man X games. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Actually, never mind. I think I'm full of crap. Don't even listen to me. Oh, man. So after this, I think it's one more level, and then we're basically just at, we're at Dr. Cossack. We fight him, and then we go to 2 or 3 Wily stages, and then that's the end of the game. That's it. It's not too bad, not too difficult. Of course, we also have to fight the 8 bosses again, and that goes by pretty quickly as well. Since I actually used the powers on them, they die pretty quickly. Now this right here, you can use the balloon power up to get to that E-tank, and you'll see what I mean right here. You have a quick second to jump on it, and then you can slide. So long as you slide when you're on it, you'll slide through, and you'll pick up that energy tank. Right now, I'm up to 4 energy tanks. I swear, I think towards the end of the game, when I'm really close to the end of the game, I have like 7, 8, or 9. It's really crazy how they just piled them on me. So this guy's not too bad. Just don't do anything too stupid and fall in the spikes because you'll die in one hit. Gotta love the old-fashioned Mega Man 1 style spikes. I like that. Yeah, it's got like a homage to the first Mega Man. Mega Man 2, you actually had some various different kinds of spikes, and you had some like really, really scary, spiky-looking ones. And Dr. Wily's castle, they were actually kind of creepy. Dr. Wily's castle in Mega Man 2 was actually just kind of creepy in general. It had like eerie music and like these piranhas that would come out of the water, and everything was dark and brown and nasty looking, and not really any of the other Mega Man games have done that since. They've all looked kind of colorful and bright and not really cheery, so to say, but they didn't portray that really dark, nasty, grimy vibe that Wily's castle did in Mega Man 2. So this one really just like throws power-ups on you, or at you. Like that E-tank was just chilling there, and in Mega Man 2 there are similar places, but you don't have, like, it'll make you fall down a screen in Mega Man 2, and there will be like a little side compartment you can go to, but there will only be just enough room to just fit your character, and that's it. So sometimes it's really hard to fall down the screen and manage to fall in there. When you do it, it kind of happens at random. But in this game, like, they'll give you more than enough room, so falling down and landing on a platform where an E-tank is really easy. So they literally like just toss them at you in this game. And they do that to a little bit in Mega Man 3 as well. I think in my Mega Man 3 Longplay, I had like 11 energy tanks by the time I was at the end of the game. Same with extra lives, actually, now that I think about it. Like right here, it's another situation. It's like, hey, just take it, please. We want you to do well at this game. So, I mean, this game has a couple tricky sections, and some of the bosses, if you're very new to the game, it's probably going to take you a few times to beat them. But once you're familiar with it, if you've beaten it a couple times, I think you could just fly right through this game. And when I was a kid, actually, I think I beat this game, like a day or two after having it. It didn't take me long at all to beat Mega Man 4. I beat it extremely fast, whereas I think Mega Man 3 took me a little bit longer when I was a kid, because there's a lot more to it. For instance, you had to fight all the Mega Man 2 bosses again, and some of the Mega Man 3 bosses were still tricky enough as it is, like Shadow Man. Now this is Dr. Cossack. It's the last section in his castle. He's really easy. Just charge your shot, get up, shoot him. Don't let the claw catch you. He'll do a lot of damage if it does, and I don't think it touches me once on this playthrough. Alright, very beginning of Dr. Wily's castle, and like I said, there's only 3 or 4 levels in this one. It's not very long at all, and it's not too difficult either. It's actually, I think I fly right through it. Probably the hardest part is the disappearing platform section, which is on this first level here. And even that's not that difficult, so long as you just watch the platforms, and you'll see what I mean. That's actually how I got through the platforms on this playthrough. I just stopped, and I just watched them once, and then I just went through it without a problem. But this is the level I was talking about, I believe, where some of the water comes back, and the level is very reminiscent of Bubble Man stage from Mega Man 2. Much like Mega Man 2, just make sure you don't jump all the way up. You can control your jump in this by just letting go of the jump button at a certain time. You'll continue to float up just a little bit, so you want to really gauge it correctly so you don't go too high. And touch the spikes, because spikes are instant death in this game, just like all the other Mega Man games. I don't think there's a single Mega Man game where spikes don't kill you in one hit, so Mega Man really has a phobia of spikes, I mean, he can get touched by buzzsaws, basically, but spikes, no, they're a no-go. So, so again, if you're new to these disappearing platform sections, just watch where they go. Not too difficult. That's the only part in the game that has those. I know in other Mega Man games they've been a little more prominent, but not in this one. Some of you are probably like, yes! A Mega Man game I'll finally be able to finish. The Mega Man games are tough, but I don't think they're that tough. Like, so long as you play them a little bit and you practice them a little bit, you can just roll right through them. They're not like Ninja Gaiden, where even with some practice, you might still have a hard time. Well, Mega Man 4, I have to say, is probably one of the easiest Mega Man games on the system, alongside Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 is pretty easy too. Well, I don't know. Mega Man 3 has a couple sections, like when you get to the Mega Man 2 stages again, or the Mega Man 2 bosses again, they could be pretty challenging. But for the most part, that game wasn't all that difficult either. Actually, Mega Man 5 after this one, kind of the same way, wasn't very difficult. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking out of the perspective of having way too much experience with these games. Like, because the Mega Man series was my favorite when I was a kid. Like, I loved Castlevania, I loved Ninja Gaiden, but Mega Man was the game I always wanted. And, and it was definitely one of my, probably the most played series for me as a kid, was Mega Man. And then, same with when Mega Man X came out on Super Nintendo. And I played all the Game Boy ones and all that stuff. My parents knew what Mega Man was when I asked for it for Christmas or my birthday. So, I mean, I have been playing it for a long time. So, maybe I'm not even right to say that this is really easy, or the easiest, or even that Mega Man 3 is easy, or I don't know. Because some of you that might be watching, you might be playing these games for the very first time, and so you might be looking at it from a completely different angle. But I think there is something to be said, though, where if I haven't played the game in 6 or 7 years, and I managed to beat it on my second try without dying, or only dying once, then maybe it is kind of easy. Or not as challenging once it's ingrained somewhere in your mind. Whereas like Ninja Gaiden, if I don't practice Ninja Gaiden, I will get a little rusty with it, because a lot of that is about knowing your enemy placement and so forth. In this one, maybe not so much. There aren't as many dangerous jumps and enemies waiting for you at the end of your jumps that might push you over to the edge due to bounce back when you get hit. I think you get where I'm getting. Blah blah. Sorry, I'm stuttering now. I think you get where I'm getting at. Now, I actually just found out in this playthrough that you can destroy those mummies with Dive Man's weapon. I never knew about that. I never tried it when I was a kid, so I thought that was pretty cool that I at least discovered something I didn't know. Not that it was really necessary, because I usually like just attack them with my plasma pistol, my charge shot, because it's just a little more challenging, and anything to make it a little more challenging keeps my interest more or longer. If it's way too easy, then I won't even bother playing the game. That's how I am. So, Mega Man, every Mega Man game, even though some of them can be easy in my opinion, like if you just rush through the game, it doesn't feel very rewarding because you'll get hit a lot and so forth. I like trying to go through these games, getting hit the least amount of times possible, and it feels better when I actually beat the game. I feel like I've actually accomplished something or gotten close to accomplishing something. So, even if I've already beaten the game 100 times before, then yeah, I still get a little bit of a feeling if I run through a game and not accrue a whole lot of damage. So this is kind of a cool boss, I guess. It's you just get on the platforms, you gotta shoot him, and the little green spot on his head. Could be a little tough to hit it. Your aim's gotta be just right. If it goes just a little bit above or below him, it won't register. So any shots that you see bouncing off means that I haven't actually, haven't hit him. Just try not to get hit by his fire. It does a good bit of damage from what I can tell. And his balls of doom, whatever you want to call them, just big balls that explode, they're pretty easy to avoid. They basically shoot wherever you are on the screen, just like a lot of other items or enemies do in this game. So it's not too hard to avoid it, which is why I actually kind of recommend you not stand on the higher platform that goes up, because it's harder to avoid them when you're up there. Plus, you have less time to react because you're closer to him. So just use that small platform and just aim your shots right, and you should be able to get through him without a problem. So now we have a little bit of a mini stage, and then we get to fight all 8 bosses all over again. And trying to fight some of these bosses, I think I actually die. Not die, I don't die, but I get close to dying. I have to use an energy tank just because I play a little recklessly. I'm just trying to experiment to figure out what items do what against these bosses, what their weaknesses are. So, and you'll get to see that in just a moment. This little room right here, I think, is very reminiscent of a section in Mega Man 3. Again, like, I can see where some people don't enjoy this one as other Mega Man games, just because, I mean, they just regurgitate a lot of things, and it's just kind of more of the same. And more of the same is not bad in my opinion, as long as it's... I don't even know how to say it. Like, music is a big thing for me. Like, if the music isn't driving at all, especially in a game like this, it's just not very good. And just that combined with the way that they regurgitate a lot of things in this game from previous Mega Mans, it just feels kind of run-of-the-mill, you know? But I still loved it as a kid, and I still like it as a Mega Man game today. I'm not going to say any of the 6 Mega Man games on Nintendo are bad. Not by any stretch of the word, but there are some that are clearly better than others, and I would recommend wholeheartedly over others on the NES. I like all 6 Mega Man games on Nintendo, even Part 6. Some people didn't like that all that much, but I thought it was cool. But being a grown adult now, whereas I had played all 6 of them while I was still a kid, you know, I was the oldest when I played Mega Man 6, but I still liked it as a Mega Man game. I still thought it was a great Mega Man game when I played it. So, as a grown adult now, and I'm revisiting Mega Man 4, it's easier to see what makes the other ones better than the others. So, Happy Video Game Nerd actually made a great point on this one. I think it was in his Mega Man 9 review about how the bosses were so bad they were good. Like, they were so goofy in their designs that they were cool. And, or at least for Mega Man 9, that was the case. And like we can just laugh at it now. But back in the day when Mega Man, like these Mega Mans were, you know, popular, like, yeah, people didn't really see him like that. And he was talking about how just some of the bosses in Mega Man 4 were just goofy. Like Brightman just has a massive light bulb on his head, and he was just making fun of Dustman and, you know, things like that. And I don't know if I agree with that entirely, but I mean, that seems to be the general consensus for some of these later Mega Mans, like 5, 6, 4 even. So I can kind of see where they get these ideas from and see where they're coming from. My biggest thing is just it's not as great of a cohesive package as Mega Man 2 and 3. Like, I don't even bring Mega Man 1 into the picture because it was the first. You know, and it was old. It came before all those. Mega Man 1 was like 87, I think. So, and that was in America. It might have come out like a year before that in Japan. So, but Mega Man 2 and 3 just did the formula so well that, like, you know, when they weren't able to recreate that in the other ones, it's just something's missing, you know? And that driving music's definitely a big part of it to me. And coming up with new kind of gameplay traits is another part of it for me. So, but Mega Man 4 does have some cool additions, like on Drill Man stage is pretty cool, and some of the like disappearing or platforms that just kind of come together on Dustman stage. It's neat. So when I was a kid, I really loved this game. It was probably my favorite game for a long time. But just to kind of wrap up this rant, just as a grown adult, I can see where other people won't like it as much as the other Mega Mans. So we're nearing the end of the game. And as you can see, I'm just, you know, using certain weapons on certain bosses. I figured out what does damage to certain bosses, and here I actually kind of show you that if you just pummel Ring Man with your shots, he'll just keep throwing rings at you. So it's kind of hard to control him. See, he just throws them out as he's running at you, and that's really hard to predict and dodge. So now if you notice, I'm just gonna hold my charge shot, and he's just gonna shoot one ring up, one ring down, and then that's it. And you just run to the other side of the screen as quickly as you can. Use your slide to get across the screen fast. It's just gives you more room to think about the rings he's throwing at you. If you don't predict them that well, gives you more time to jump over them, basically. And I use Brightman's weapon on Pharoah Man, as you'll see in just a moment. And whereas Flashman's weapon would actually just take away life from Quickman, it would take half of his life away, and then you'd have to, well, hurt him for the other half of his life. Pharoah Man, it just stops him, and you shoot him. And, just keep pummeling him. I think, I don't even know if he's stunned, or if it's just how it acts on him, but it's just kind of weird. Like, when you hit Pharoah Man with Brightman's weapon and you're shooting him, he doesn't blink or anything like that, so... Alright, so this is Dr. Wily. This is the second to final battle. He has two forms here. It's kind of like some of his other fights in the other Mega Man games, but after this we go to another level and we have to fight him one more time. He's kind of tricky, and you can only use Pharoah Man on him on his very final form, which you'll see in just a few moments. But for here, just jump over the fireballs, and that's basically it. There's not a whole lot to it. Now, I don't play it very well. What you can do is just sit at the back of the screen. For the fireballs that go a little bit lower than the other ones, you can just jump over them. For the other ones, sometimes you have to go under them, and I'm sure there's a pattern or something like that, or there's a way to kind of control it, but I don't know that At least not now when I got here. Remember not getting hit very much at all as a kid on this fight. I would just jump over all of them, I think. But now it's a little bit different, so. And it looks like, from what I can tell, he's just shooting wherever you are on the screen. So if you're on the floor, he'll shoot down. If you're up in the air, he'll shoot up. So it's not really up and down, but you know what I mean. He shoots in a more upwards direction, whereas when you're on the ground, he shoots towards you, and you're on the ground, so it's a little bit down. Again, not very difficult, especially with how generous they are with the energy tanks. There's really no reason you should die at this fight, even if you're really bad at these games. You just remember to hold your charge shot. Always charge. Because in this game, when you, if you're charging and you get hit, your charge shot still stays. You still have it charged up. In Mega Man 5 and 6, I believe, if you're charging and you get hit, it restarts the charge. So it's harder to actually charge in those games and use them effectively. So you can charge and still get hit in this game, and you'll still have your charge. No big deal. Now this little section's kind of reminiscent of the very last section in Mega Man 2. And to kind of go along with that, you have to use a very specific weapon on Dr. Wily, which I really don't like that, because if you run out of the weapon, you have to get a freaking game over in order to get the weapon power back. So I was actually kind of stressing at this part, because I had just gone through the entire game. It took me about an hour and 13 minutes or something like that, and I was worried that if I didn't succeed at this part, I would have to lose all my lives up, and just to get my Pharoah power back. And I probably would have given up, because I don't think you guys would have wanted to see that. Me dying 9 times just to get my Pharoah power back. So Pharoah Man's weapon, as you can see, you can just shoot it regularly, but it's not that powerful. And the way to use it is to hold the B button and charge it up. Very similar to Heat Man's weapon in Mega Man 2, where you can charge it up. Now, the charge cannon they introduced in this game wasn't the first time that you could charge in a Mega Man game, and Heat Man's weapon was the example where you could charge in a prior Mega Man game. And I don't know if any weapons could be charged in Mega Man 3. I do not remember at this point. But in this one you can, and that's Pharoah Man's weapon. And unfortunately in this boss fight you can only use it. And Dr. Wily can be a little tricky. He blinks for a quick second to show you where he is, and then you only have a second or two to actually attack him. And he disappears and he comes somewhere else on the screen. So it can be a little frustrating. It's definitely not my favorite Wily boss battle, but I do like the backing tune. It's another example of a track in the game that I enjoy, that I feel fits well with the game. So if only there was more like that throughout the whole game. So there you go, guys. That's the end of Mega Man 4. And this is, it's pretty much rolling the credits right now. And, that's basically the end of the game. If you've never seen what this game's like all the way through, well, now you have, provided you've stayed to the end. As usual, if you stayed to the end, just post a comment below. Let me know that you've actually watched the whole thing. I like to know that you guys, I like to know when you guys watch all the way through the long plays. I kind of keep tabs on who does, and you know, the more people that say that, the more people I know that are actually watching these, and you know, I'll be more inclined to do more in the future. So just let me know that you've watched it, and let me know if you like it or not. I mean, most of these long plays is just me rambling for an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes less if the game's shorter, like Ninja Gaiden. But you know, games like Mega Man, I get to reminisce a lot more and talk about the games a lot more in depth, as well as talk about some tricks and stuff like that. But one thing I like about doing these Mega Man long plays is that I can reminisce more, because the games aren't that tricky, in my opinion. They have some tricky parts, but for the most part, if you played a Mega Man game, you've played all the Mega Man games. I mean, they're not... Especially if you play Mega Man 2. If you play Mega Man 2, then... You know, you got the general idea what the rest of the Mega Man games are like, at least in the 8-bit Nintendo. And, of course, Mega Man 9 and 10, but those actually get a lot more tricky, which is why they're pretty cool. They're a beast of their own, basically. They're a lot more trickier than the 8-bit Nintendo ones. But for those of you that like the old Mega Man games, but you want a serious challenge, play Mega Man 9 and 10, which is on the Wii, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3 through the PlayStation Network. They're all downloadables, actually. It'd be nice if they put them on disc, or at least do like an 11 and then release like a trilogy on disc. That would be pretty cool, in my opinion. So, that's it, guys. I'm just gonna let the credits roll out. I'm gonna go ahead and just end it here. I want to say thanks again for watching. Well, never mind, the credits have just rolled. It's presented by Capcom. That's always the end. So, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll try to be back with another long play, maybe before the end of the year. You know, like I said, I'm trying to work on the Double Dragon one. If that comes out well, I'll probably eventually do a Double Dragon 2 one as well, because that game's not as difficult as the first one, in my opinion. And I'll definitely be doing a Ninja Gaiden 3, and it's just all a matter of when I get to them, you know, when I do them. So I'd like to get some more reviews pumped out. I haven't done a review in a while, like a full-on review, not just like a casual overview or look at or something like that. So not a casual gameplay and talk. I'd like to do a full review and a couple more specials and so forth. So until then, we'll just see what happens, guys. So again, thanks for watching, and if you like these long plays, I got plenty of others. Actually, while I'm here, I'll just tell you what I've got. You can just look at my channel. I have a playlist just for long plays, but I've done Super Castlevania 4 for Super Nintendo, Castlevania for the NES, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, and now Mega Man 4 for the NES, Guardian Heroes for the Saturn, Doom for the Sega 32X, and Twin Cobra for the 8-bit Nintendo, Firepower 2000 for the Super Nintendo, and I don't know if I mentioned them already, but Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 for the Nintendo. I think I might have done one other, so I mean, I've got a couple other long plays for you to check out if that's your sort of thing. I know some people really like the Let's Plays, which that's technically what this is. This is a Let's Play, but I call them long plays, put my own twist on them. I also do the commentary portion after, because if I'm just playing the game and trying to talk at the same time, I'm not going to play nearly as well, and they're not going to be nearly as fun to watch, in my opinion. I don't like watching Let's Plays where people die over and over and over again, and they're just kind of, I don't know, they kind of really have fun with it, and that could be fun, I'm sure, for some people, but I like to watch games where people know what they're doing. So I hope I'm able to kind of do the same thing for those that, you know, like watching them the way I do. So anyways, with that, I've already said this a million times, but thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys later, and I'll be back soon with some kind of other video. So until then, take it easy, guys.